Hello and welcome. This is Aoife Dean and this is the Happy Weight Podcast. Today I want to talk about how to say no to stuff we don't really actually want, because you know the way that's so annoying and we get really frustrated with ourselves. We're kind of like, I didn't even want to eat that, or I made a promise I wouldn't be eating that. So the first thing, right, is we have to get the disordered kind of beliefs out of the way. One of the first disordered kind of beliefs would be that, say, from where we are to where we want to get to should be a challenge, or eating should be a challenge. So eating at no point should be challenging. And if our eating is challenging or creating a lot of anxiety or stress, we probably need help with it, because what eating really is life-giving in every sense of the word. So it's social, it's emotional, it brings people together, it brings us energy. It's obviously the fuel for our body. It can be a lovely, lovely part of life. I just even remember for myself, it was kind of like I wanted to get to a better place with my eating and weight. And I thought how I'd get there is through grit and willpower, the challenges. And I just don't think it is. If you wanted to learn French, there's no point practicing Japanese really hard every day. We need to start as we mean to go on. The second thing is that you should be using willpower. So I kind of think that, say, someone who does not have a gambling issue, say I don't have any issues with gambling, when I walk past a bookies, I'm not using willpower. They're just not on my radar because I don't associate them with enjoyment. So understand that using willpower is not how you'll get out of eating and weight issues. I don't think that's what people without a weight problem are doing. People who don't have food noise and food is in the background of their life, they're just having a nice time. So willpower is not our route. The next myth I think we have to bust, and it's so sad to see, I had a whole day of clients yesterday. Some religions believe that, the devil can get inside of people, and I don't really believe that. But when you have a whole day of clients, right, and everyone is saying their mind is saying the same thing, and it's the same thing that I lived with, and it's quite evil and negative, I suppose, makes us feel very separate and alone and broken and unworthy. It's just crazy how it's the same voice for all of us when we're going through this, and that's really sad. But anyways, basically, the more in a bad place someone is, the more foods they'll judge. So it's just always really weird to me, kind of now that I'm out the other side and I am a dietitian and I have a master's, when people say oh, there was sandwiches there and I shouldn't be eating sandwiches. It was wait a second now, why shouldn't you, what are you on about? You shouldn't be eating sandwiches. Sometimes I kind of think the best approach to nutrition is, would it make sense to your grandmother? So it's does that make sense? I don't know, taking the bread out of your breakfast and just having boiled eggs or something, does that make sense? Or saying a sandwich is what causes obesity? It doesn't make sense. I remember a woman was oh, it's so bad I get shop bought hummus. And I was is there any other type? Do you know what I mean? So when we've disordered eating, we judge everything. And I think a good thing to do is interview the bully. Okay, so bread is bad. I shouldn't really be eating meat. Shouldn't really be eating fish. I should be kind of probably a bit vegan. I should be probably gluten-free. Probably shouldn't be eating really carbs. Definitely shouldn't be eating any processed foods. Then there's a lot of fruits that have a lot of sugar in them. So I should probably watch fruits. Probably should watch juices as well. Probably should stay away from dairy. And then you're what's left? What is left? Rice and veg, but then rice is too much carbs. So if you interview the bully, you're kind of what diet are you trying to get me to here? And is there anyone I know or could even imagine that could live a happy, healthy life as an adult, who requires adult nutrition, living on what you're proposing? So that's the other thing. What I'm getting around here is the whole idea that I shouldn't be eating processed foods and I'm bad if I eat processed foods. And I know there's people on the internet and stuff, and it's their life's mission to bring across that they don't eat processed foods and no one should eat processed foods and it's awesome to not eat processed foods. And it's kind of that's lovely, but that's also me I don't know, comparing myself to some Olympic athlete. Like I can run and I'm allowed, flap around the place and do my own little bits of running without feeling bad that I can't be an Olympic athlete. And it's kind of the same with food. Like, as in, for me anyway, like I had a history of binge eating and emotional eating. And I have friends and family and a lifestyle and live in a country where processed foods exist as part of life. So that ship has kind of sailed for me, anyways. Like, and I'm not too sure I even want it. Like, and it's the same for you. Like, have a good old think about it, because maybe you want to be healthy and maybe you want to be your optimum weight. Maybe you want to be strong and light and fit or happy or whatever words float your boat. But all of those things could happen whilst some processed foods are in your diet. And it's again going away from the black and white thinking that the only two things that we could be experiencing is either no processed foods ever or eating loads of them. And it's just like, even science suggests there's nothing wrong with some. So we have to catch ourselves in the black and white thinking and the food judgment. Another thing that I think is really important to say is I found, for me anyway, when I was in eating and weight issues, my focus was always on the before. Like, say now if I was going to a meeting at 10 or something, I'd be like, you're going to go to that coffee shop and you're not going to look at the buns and you're not going to get a hot chocolate or you're not going to get a mocha or you're not going to get whatever. And it was all like, coaching and building myself up to the before and the willpower and the ability to say no. And now it's always painting the picture of what I would like to feel like in the meeting, how I would like to feel mentally, how I would like to feel physically. So visualizing what that would be. And I think, again, the answer is not control. The answer is not like, those funny scenes in Dodgeball where if he touches the donut, he gives himself an electric shock. Like sometimes we can be a bit weird like that we're like, it'd be so lovely to be so disciplined and so controlled. And it's like, would it though? Would it? Is that really a happy ever after? So instead, it's kind of like, that'd be cool. That'd be cool to be in the meeting or in the coffee shop and being like, oh, what's here? Ooh, that looks nice. Maybe I'll have one of them. And creating the vision of what it would be like if you're feeling fixed, you're feeling healed, you're feeling in a good place with your body, with who you are, what you're eating, and your shoulders back, and then always leaving the place feeling physically nice. So, again, we're trying to get over, it's mental health. That's the long and the short of it. It's mental health, a mental health issue here where our mind is creating all this noise and objections and criticism and judgment and all the rest of it. And because of that, our poor body has suffered, our nutrition has suffered, maybe our weight has suffered. So now it's all about making sure the body is happy. So not keeping the mind happy, keeping your body and your physical senses very, very satisfied from the food that you eat. The only way out of this is through this. It's definitely not avoiding situations. It's not avoiding people. It's not avoiding, eating with people, eating out with people. I would say it's the opposite, right? So it's kind of one of the symptoms of worsening weight is that we start to be more and more loners with food. It's like, make yourself be social with food and re-engage and practice eating and being normal with food, and don't take the bait of staying at home on your own eating, or that it's safer to not eat out or it's safer to not meet up with people. But now I'm going to talk about some specific examples, great? Because I had a client yesterday and he was saying he was visiting home now this weekend. And when he's visiting home and going around to people's houses and stuff, there's one house particularly that they always have chocolates on the table, and they're shitty chocolates. He doesn't even like them, but he always ends up eating them. And so I think another thing we have to get clear on, right, is if we have these issues with food, we're excellent survivors, and most of our ancestors, no matter where we come from in the world, most of us have a history of colonization or, no food being around. So of course we have it in us to not miss out on food. So I was telling this client that it's like, if your option is shitty chocolate or 0 calories, you will always pick the shitty chocolate. Like, I kind of think we need to think about this now. Like, there's a toddler in her brain being like, I'm not going to miss out, am I? I'm not going to not be fed, am I? Like, it's just like so terrified of not getting food or missing out on comfort or missing out on pleasure. Like, it's really like a kind of little anxious toddler in her brain. So now we have to be kind of like, oh, no. It's not that it's zero options, shitty chocolate, and that's it. Now we have to change our range of options. So now it's kind of like the shitty chocolates in their house, or what? Like, the what has to be bigger and better. Because again, that's what I believe people without weight issues are doing. People without weight issues, when they're saying no to something, what they're actually saying is yes to something nicer. Like, if I'm saying no to food now, it's only because in my head, I probably have my own little to-do list of yummy things that I can get my hands on later, or, I'll be in that shop, or I'll be at home, or I'll be wherever. And my future option is nicer than this option. And also now I see taking a food that I don't really like, or that would not make me feel good in 20 minutes time, I see that as missing out, because it's a bit like my episode on the evening snacking and overeating, but it's kind of like, are you going to clutter your system with crap so that then when everyone else is enjoying the birthday cake or the food and being like, oh my God, this is amazing and it tastes amazing and I feel amazing or whatever, we have to miss out because it's just legitimately not as amazing for us if our system is overfed. So in a kind of weird way, I kind of almost like really developed a strong no, because also, what I had lost, I had lost years and years at, a relationship with food that I didn't want and having no control over my body weight. So, and I believe that was all because of meh foods that like, they were not my thing. Like, that's what I was saying to a client yesterday. Like, I felt so sad for her because she's basically me. Like, she's in her early 30s now, when this all started when she was 10 or 11. So I was like, you've just been a rag doll with food your whole life. Like, as in the diet industry being like, no, you have to eat this, and then you have to eat this, and then you have to eat this. And then go into Tesco or whatever, and they're like, 2 for 1, let down your hair, treat yourself. It's Sunday, it's a bank holiday, it's Easter or whatever. So it's like you've never eaten your own diet. You've never eaten the foods that, like, wait a second, how does this taste to me? And what would make me feel well today? Because we're all weirdos. Like, we all are too unique to be definitely, keeping the diet industry happy or keeping all the marketing and supermarkets and processed food industry happy. So it's like we need to meet our needs now, and we need to figure out what works for us. So yeah, in that situation, it's like we always have to build better. And like I said, I developed a strong, like, angry no almost, because it is kind of like, fuck you, shitty sweets. Like, as in, like, and it would be the same if it was kiwis, right? This is not about nutrition. Like, our weight is because of overeating. It's not because of nutrition. And that really annoys me as well, because people go on and on and on about nutrition. No one I'm seeing is on death's door because of a nutritional deficiency. People are in a really bad health spot because of either really under eating or really overeating. So get off the topic of nutrition and start focusing on, eating the right amount for our body. And we are the only possible person that could know that based on how crappy we feel sometimes after eating, or how nice we feel sometimes after eating. So it's the always build the better option was number one. And so that's what I said to that male client anyway. I said to him, yes, think about those options, but I think there has to be like 3, 4, 5 better options available to you in the next 24 hours. So again, don't believe that anyone is using willpower when they say no. If they're a healthy relationship with food kind of person, they are saying no because they have something better on the horizon. And so, that whole thing as well, that our brain works 2.5 times harder to not miss out. So like I said, that little toddler in our brain that is like, are you missing out? Are you going to not have any comfort today? Are you not allowed sweets? Are sweets going away? That little toddler, you have to be like, oh, no, 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 no. It's just those Kit Kats are not as nice as the carrot cake in the bougie coffee shop. And I want the bougie carrot shop cake or whatever it might be. It could be anything. Now, the next one is there's also a little habit we can have of, again, it's kind of like maybe a little devil in our head and be like, what you could do now when you're driving home from work, when you're driving up to Dublin or whatever, you could go into that filling station and you could get loads of stuff because you deserve it and you've had a hard drive and you're on your own. There's no one there to shame you or judge you. And this is your opportunity to go for gold and eat whatever the hell you want and, give yourself a prize. We have to kind of relive how often we've lived that. And it's kind of like with the food, we're building a better option. So with that, right, whenever your mind, is going on about like, you deserve it, like you need it, it's been so hard a week, like blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like, we have to one up that, because again, it's kind of like, So I've had a really stressful, busy week. I feel, I work with a lot of moms who feel like overworked, underappreciated, all those kind of things. And it's like, So because of that, I deserve to feel sick on my own in the car after eating a load of vegetable oil and sugar. Like that's all I get. It's not that that's too much. It's not that if I stopped into the shop and did that and ate it all on my own in the car park, that would be too much. It's that it's not enough. Like that's all I get, like cheap shit food. That's all I get. Like that's not meeting my needs. So again, the option has to be, you have to one up the stopping on your way home or stopping on wherever at the filling station or whatever. You have to one up that thing. So it's kind of like, again, there's part of our brain being like, I just think you deserve to be like, given a treat and given a prize or whatever. And we have to meet that need and some. So it's kind of like, yeah, I do. It has been a really, really hard week. And so I don't think the solution is me feeling sick on my own in a car park. I don't think the solution is me feeling really guilty after eating a load of crap. And habit is strong, right? Like our brain just wants to copy and paste. When you have this feeling, you do this thing. When you do this feeling, you do this thing. When you have this feeling, you do this thing. And now we have to be like, wait a second. Like, yeah, usually when I have this feeling, I do this thing, but how's the feeling after that? Do you know what I mean? Because again, we're entitled to, when we feel bad, to do something that feels better. And again, if our current habits are not performing in allowing us to feel better, that's not good enough anymore. So I think like just remove the idea of being greedy or obviously like willpower. It's not that you're not enough. It's now just all about getting your needs met. Like that, that's what we're focusing on. So then you're given a range of options, because I suppose that's how the bully pushes us into always saying yes to something that isn't even that nice. Because it's like, okay, your options are you going to be back like you were when you were on that diet and just saying no to everything? Or you could just eat all of it. So again, it's very black and white. It's very binary. Whereas you getting your needs met is opening yourself up to all your options, right? Because maybe you could get a little thing in this filling station or a big thing, or maybe you could eat that thing at home, or maybe you could ring someone when you're there and be like, oh, can I call in on the way home and bring them a bag of cookies or something and have them with them? Or you've a load of options. But I think, to be honest, food is only a part of what we need after a very stressful day or a boring week or an intense week or whatever. Food can only do so much. Like it can do a lot if you don't have it, or if you have a bad relationship with it, you really miss out. But it can't do everything. I had a little girl coming home from school crying, and you were like, shut up and eat these 6 donuts. It's like, yeah, it would have been nice to like give her something, but kind of making her eat so much that she doesn't get to talk about her emotions. She doesn't get to heal in any way. She doesn't get to process even. She's just distracted by how sick she feels. and then her body has to put up with all of that. Like, that's just not enough. It could be using what you have. So such a huge thing in eating and weight issues is really having crap habits, basically, because the mindset is on Monday I'll be good, or once I've annual leave, or once I've this project is in. And it's like, our health and weight is definitely getting worse if we've that outlook on things, because getting to an advanced level with anything is facing the music and dancing, like as in working with what you have, like working with what's in front of you. And it could be a crappy Tuesday night where no one's around and it's rainy and you've got period pains or something, and all these little things wrong with the evening anyway. But like, I kind of think now we have to turn it around, that every problem is an opportunity, because us getting really good at those nights, like, think of what that could do for our future. Think about what it would mean for our future if we started meeting our own needs, and if we started meeting our bad mood, and like minding ourselves, being really nice to ourselves, not just running into only food and then creating a distraction of giving out to ourselves and guilt. Again, I think it's about, meeting your needs even better. So it's not get the lovely chocolate or nothing and suffer. It's nothing and suffer, the crappy chocolate that makes you feel sick or whatever, or maybe a mega mix of some food, but also some lovely things you're going to do for yourself so that you get to process, heal, and soothe whatever emotion is going on. And I kind of even think knowing that emotional regulation is part of the problem here. Like, it's because I have other areas in my life I'm working on now too. And I just think, we have to just remind ourselves, wait, this is where things tend to go wrong now when, I feel a strong emotion and, I do something erratic or urgent. So it's like, now I think we have to have that self-awareness of when we have the strong emotion to kind of like cool down, sit with it, display our options to ourselves, that you don't just have to go down the same road over and over again, and you don't have to go down the denial road. It's like, what would self-care and self-love look like in this situation? So I hope today's episode was helpful. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and check out my website, happyweight.ie, if you'd like to work with me one-to-one or you'd like any courses. And thank you so much. Have a lovely week. Mwah.